Ani, it's me again, coming at you with another video. So as you can tell from the title, we're doing another thrift flip. A lot of you seem to really like the last one that I did, and I just found myself in the thrift store finding something unrelated. But while I was there, I just had a thought, why not try and find something that I can thrift flip again? Especially since in the last video, I said that because I had made an item that was child size, that maybe I should try and thrift flip something into an adult size. At this point, I'm thinking that maybe it might be kind of a shorter skirt, you know, around like maybe around the knees. I don't know if there's really much of a way to make a full-size ribbon skirt, you know, like that's mid-calf or down to the ankles, unless you're grabbing a dress or a skirt that you can turn into one. But I wanted to grab items that were very much not a skirt and flip that into a skirt. So let me show you what I got. I hope this works out. But this was my inspiration. This is the first item that I grabbed, and it's a robe. It's a sheer red robe. Let me put it on real quick. Gosh, it smells like the thrift store. Yeah. I seen this and thought that it would be really cute for an overlay. Realized it's pretty similar to the overlay that I chose for the last one, but it's red and square dotted and not polka dotted. Anyway, obviously this is see-through, so we need a fabric to go underneath, and I chose another robe. This one is like a cream satin. I think it's actually a bridal robe because the tag says Miss to Mrs. And yeah, we're gonna turn this into a skirt. Oh, I'm glowing like an angel with the sunlight hitting this light robe. Anyways, so we're gonna have this be the bottom layer and the red be the top layer. I think I'm just gonna put ribbons on the bottom here. And then the red robe did not come with a tie, but the white robe did. I thought that this might be cute to like maybe have as a bow on the skirt. Just a thought. So how am I gonna do this? My first thought was to just cut the robe directly under the armpits. That does leave kind of a short skirt, again, around the knees or so, not counting how much needs to fold over the elastic band. My other thought was maybe, I don't know if this is going to work out. I might just have to try and see, and if it doesn't, we'll go with option A that I just talked about. But stitching closed the armholes, cutting off the arms.
Boo! Ani, editing Chelsea here, just coming in to save an entire minute of me explaining in the longest way possible that I believe that doing that is going to form an A-frame cut that I can wrap around with the neck of the robe meeting my waist.
Lovely idea and all, but I think that there's way too many fit issues. I can't get any kind of give anywhere in the like chest or upper back portion in order to, you know, you're gonna put a waistband on this, right? So there's not enough room to be able to like get it around the hips and off. Like it fits around my waist, great. But then I wouldn't be able to get it off because it wouldn't, you know, fit over my hips, which are wider. Also, there's weird bunching right here that I wouldn't be able to correct without like a dart. And it also kind of goes upward where this is. So I think I am going to have to begin the skirt underneath the armpit. I think I'm actually going to cut it maybe an inch just above the armpit into the sleeve so that there's enough to be able to have any kind of allowance for a waistband or whatever. Part of me does want to replicate what I did with the other thrift flip, which was grabbing some fabric from my stash to be at the top of the skirt, and the red and the white fabric could be like a drop waist situation. You know, it might be what I have to do in order to not have a super short skirt. So this is my knee, and that's where it lands. So it'd be kind of a short skirt, and it would be the same situation as the white robe. I'm loving this over black, by the way, but I didn't grab a black robe. Actually, I didn't see one. I changed my mind about cutting above the seam of the armpit. I'm gonna still cut just below it. Give her a cut. Front of the robe, just going to repeat everything that I just did, and basically I'm just connecting the line we just cut, or continuing it, I mean, not connecting it. And I'm going to cut from where we ended and finish it off. Okay, it's August and it's hot, so I have all the pieces cut out. Like I said, I cut under the armpit, so what I have here is just a long rectangle. Same thing with the white fabric. I need to cut, you know, a couple of these like ties off. The red is slightly longer than the white fabric by like 5 inches, but that's okay. I think that actually works out, because then the overlay can kind of be gathered a little more and kind of maybe poof out just a little bit, separate from the lining fabric. This is what I chose for the top portion, for like a drop waist, just to add a little bit of length to the skirt. Not a lot of length. I'm going to keep it sort of midi or above. Keep in mind I'm 5'6" with, you know, throughout all of this, so if you're smaller than me, I imagine you're like, what are you talking about? It's perfect. Anyway, so I thought that this gold fabric that I have for a cosplay that I made probably would go kind of nice with, you know. What I'm gonna do next then is fold this right sides together, and I'm going to stitch down this one open seam. So it's not going to be like a regular ribbon skirt that I usually do on the channel where I have 2 side seams. It is going to be one seam, and I'm going to have that seam go down the back. So partially because I'm not sure if this is wide enough to walk in. It's very at the like end of the spectrum of kind of too small, where you might kind of having to make small steps. So I think because of that, and for looks, I think that this would just look nice with the one seam in the back, is to not stitch all the way down to the hem, to the bottom. I'm just going to stitch down a ways and then maybe leave like the last, what is that, like 10 inches open in the back. As for the red fabric, I actually have a few ideas. So we can either do the exact same thing, or I can leave more of it open and have kind of an open like concept with it. I've seen this a few times where ribbon skirts, sometimes they have it way open too, you know, like to here, and it's just kind of left to fly. Another thought was like having it left open right at the top, maybe just like a teeny gap, and doing that either in the front or in the back. At this point I'm just kind of not really sure. I like the idea of doing it in the back because the fact that the seam of the white lining is in the back as well, so it would be more cohesive than having it opposite that seam and in the front. But also It's not like that seam's gonna be super visible through the white lining, so it might not even matter all that much. Another thought that I have is sort of leaving this more open concept, leaving a wider gap, I mean, and really having it gather at the drop waist and flow nicely. I guess what I'm gonna do is go ahead and stitch the white lining, and then I'm gonna lay it, it's my cat, and then I'm gonna lay them on the floor and play around and see what look I like the most. I haven't even been looking at the camera this whole time. I'm not re-recording all of that, I'm sorry. Okay, so I think I have it figured out. I don't want to show it to you because then it'll be a spoiler. It'll spoil the end product. Anyway, it is a deviation from the last plan. I realize I keep deviating from the plan, but you know, there never was a plan to begin with. I didn't set out to the thrift store with a full plan of how things were going to be done and whatnot. You know, I picked this up and the plan came after. So that's how the creative process is. Things just change. I like what I'm seeing right now though. I realized though, I probably should have put the ribbon on before sewing the side seam of the white fabric, or not the side seam, the one joining seam. But I think that'll be okay. I'm just going to put the ribbon on last, actually, after putting the whole skirt together. And then I'll just fray block the ribbon or fold the ends in or whatever I need to do to finish off the ends of the ribbon. So for the gold portion of fabric, I went ahead and sewed it together. I'm going to press the seam open in just a moment. And then this other side was folded, and I decided I wanted to sort of just create a faux side seam so that I wouldn't have a seam on just one side of the hip. I wanted a seam on both sides of the hip. Next, what I'm going to do is take the red fabric and gather it so that I can attach it directly to this, and then I'll attach the white underneath.
To gather the fabric, I'm doing a long straight stitch on the machine without doing any back stitching, and I'm stopping it right in the middle of the fabric piece. Or more like pausing, because I am stitching all along the top of this fabric piece, but stopping in the middle allows me to gather half of the fabric at a time.
After I get those stitches done, then I'm going to find the center of the gold fabric here and right sides together. So this is the right side of the gold fabric. This is the right side of the overlay fabric. I'm matching up the center of both of them and pinning it. And then the same thing goes for the front. So I did mention before, but this is the back. And then I found the center point for the other side so that this could be the front. So the end of the overlay fabric, I'm going to be matching that up with where I want it on the front, pinning it. And then I'll probably go ahead, fold it and half again from the one end of the overlay fabric to the center of it, folding it in half again to find that center point and matching it up with the side seam and then pinning that. Once I have those points pinned in place, you can, if it makes it easier for you to gather, you can go ahead and find another midpoint and apply them. But I think right here I'm good. After I make after I pin those points, then I take the tails of this stitch here and I'm going to pull them. And I guess I'm only taking one of the threads and pulling them. Just be careful you don't break your thread. You can use like dental floss or yarn or something and do a zigzag over it, but I didn't feel like doing all that. I just, did it normal. hard way. So pulling that thread together until this is matching the length of this, which you know, I seem to have gathered a little too much, so I'm gonna try and make it match. And then once it matches length, I'm gonna put a bunch of pins in here. And the reason that I'm doing this now instead of attaching the overlay to the white fabric and then attaching both to the gold fabric at the same time, well, that would certainly be time saving and a little easier. The red fabric is wider than the white, and I don't want to cut them to be the same width because then I'm gonna have to hem the red more. So being that they need different amounts of gathering, I didn't want to gather the red down to fit the white fabric and then have to have it gathered again along with the white fabric to attach it to this. Hopefully that makes sense. That process would involve the red overlay being gathered twice. So that's why I'm attaching them one at a time. Gathering the red, attaching it to the gold, and then I'm going to gather the white and attach that to both of them. We would want to do the overlay first in this process because after I sew this on and then I lay the white on here to gather that, then the white is going to be on the very bottom. I'm going to take this and pretend it's the white fabric, right? Now we've attached it and gathered it. When we fold this downward to wear the skirt, then it will be underneath the red overlay. If we attach the white to the gold first before the overlay, then it would be on the outside completely. So just sorry if you are not a beginner and you're like, oh my god, I know, stop talking. Some people like this information, so now the overlay and the lining are attached to the gold upper piece. And next I want to put in the waistband, but I came into a problem and it's my own fault. So when I measured how long I wanted this to be, I noticed that this stretchy portion, which I intend to fold underneath to form the channel for the waistband to sit in, when I was cutting this out, I noticed that this doesn't have a consistent width. Like, let me show you right here. Yeah, so some of it is much wider than the rest. So I measured the length that I wanted from just this line right here. What I didn't think about was the fact that while I was like, oh, I can just fold this over at that line and that'll be the channel for the waistband. The fact that some parts of this channel that I want to make isn't even going to be wide enough for the waistband that I have. So I ended up taking my waistband and cutting it in half. It was, you know, this thick, but I cut it in half so that I would be able to fit it in there. I don't like a thinner waistband like this. I like them thicker, but what can you do? So I'm gonna go ahead and do the waistband. You already know how to do that, I hope. If you don't, maybe try one of my other ribbon skirt videos and I'll probably did it there. I just don't think that this skirt belongs in my household. Hopefully that makes sense. You ever make something and you just don't feel like it's yours? That's how I feel about this skirt. I just simply don't feel like it's mine. I think part of it is because of the color choices. This color combination is just not me. I did offer it to my partner and she's not into it either. But you know, I'm willing to bet that maybe one of you might be.
Yes, you heard that right. This color scheme just doesn't suit me. It's not black enough. But it might suit you, so I'm putting this up for giveaway. If you would like to win the skirt, or if you would like to win the skirt for a loved one, then go to the description box and enter the giveaway through the link. The giveaway is open to any United States or Canadian people, and you have until October 28th at midnight EST to join the giveaway. That's a Monday. Again, you can find the rules and the link to enter the giveaway in the description box.
Yes, here is the thrift flip, as promised, and I'm gonna try and see what else I can do without cheating and getting like bed sheets or curtains. But you know, if I see something that's cute, why not? And yeah, that's all I have for today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, p.r.i.z.e.e.w.a.y.